Hey everybody, picture this. It's 1787. America just kicked out the British king in a huge Revolutionary War party. Now we've got 13 states acting like a bunch of kids who all want to be the boss of the playground. No rules, no referee, just chaos. New York was slapping tariffs on goods from New Jersey and Connecticut like they were enemy countries. Maryland and Virginia were arguing over who got to control the Potomac River and Chesapeake Bay. Pennsylvania and Connecticut were fighting over land in the Wyoming Valley. Virginia and other big states claimed huge chunks of western land that smaller states like Maryland said it should belong to everybody, not just the giants. States were printing their own money that turned worthless faster than a melted ice cream cone. One state's farmers were so mad about taxes, they started Shays Rebellion in Massachusetts, and the weak central government couldn't even stop it properly. Total mess. 13 separate teams instead of one United States. So a bunch of smart guys in powdered wigs sat down in Philadelphia and wrote the Constitution, the ultimate rule book for the whole country. It's not a bedtime story, it's the recipe that says, hey government, here's what you can do, and here's a giant list of what you absolutely cannot do to the people. And today, we're breaking it down like it's a comic book. 5th grade style, with jokes and zero boring parts. Ready? Let's make history fun again. First, the big fight before they even wrote it, Federalists versus Anti-Federalists. Think of it as two superhero teams arguing over the same comic book. The Federalists, Alexander Hamilton, James Madison, John Jay, were like, dude, we need a strong central government or we're toast. Look at all those fights. New York versus New Jersey, Maryland versus Virginia, Pennsylvania versus Connecticut. States alone are like 13 toddlers fighting over one toy box. We'll have a president, a Congress, courts, Team America all the way. They wrote these essays called the Federalist Papers that basically said, trust us, bro, strong team wins. The Anti-Federalists, Patrick Henry, George Mason, and the Don't Tread on Me crowd were like, whoa, slow down. We just fought a king. A big boss in faraway Washington is going to turn into King 2.0 and stomp all over us. What if they take our farms? What if they tell us what to think? They demanded a Bill of Rights first, like a force field around the people, before they'd even sign. Satire alert. The Federalists were the optimistic jocks yelling unity. The Anti-Federalists were the skeptical nerds in the back going, yeah, and next you'll want my lunch money and my river and my land claims too. They argued, they yelled, they compromised, and boom! The Constitution got written with a promise of those first 10 amendments. Without that fight, we'd either have 13 separate squabbling countries today or one giant boss telling you when to brush your teeth. Punchline. Democracy is basically the world's longest group project where nobody agrees, but somehow it works. Okay, let's crack open the Constitution itself. It's short. Only about 4,500 words, shorter than your average superhero movie script. Here we go, section by section, like chapters in a story. The preamble, the fancy opening sentence that's basically the mission statement. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. Translation for us 5th graders. Hey, regular folks, not just kings or rich guys, we are building a better team so everyone gets fair play, peace at home, protection from bullies outside, help when we need it, and freedom forever for our kids and their kids. It's like the team chant before the big game. And yes, back then, we the people didn't include everybody, women, enslaved people, Native Americans, but that line became the hook that later let us fix things. They wrote, more perfect, because even the founders knew their first draft wasn't perfect. They were just smart enough to leave room for upgrades. Article 1, the legislative branch Congress, the lawmaking factory. This is the longest part because making rules is hard. Congress has 2 houses like a 2-layer cake. House of Representatives based on population. Big states get more votes. They're the People's House, elected every 2 years so they stay nervous and listen to you. Senate, 2 senators per state, no matter how big or small. Elected every 6 years so they can think long-term instead of chasing every silly trend. Congress gets to make laws, collect taxes, borrow money, regulate trade between states, goodbye to New York taxing New Jersey stuff, declare war, raise an army, and print money. But here's the punch. They cannot make a law that punishes you for something you did before the law existed. No ex post facto nonsense. They can't tax your exports just to be mean, and they can't give titles like Duke of New Jersey. The founders were terrified of kings, so they built guardrails everywhere. Imagine Congress trying to pass a law saying everyone must wear socks with sandals. The House would fight for 3 years, the Senate would add 47 pork barrel projects for their home states, and the president would veto it while eating a taco. That's the system working. Slow, messy, but it stops crazy ideas from becoming law overnight. Article 2. The executive branch, the president, the doer of the government. Elected every 4 years through the Electoral College. Yep, still arguing about that one. The president is like the team captain, can command the military, but Congress declares war, checks and balances, baby, make treaties, Senate has to approve, appoint judges and cabinet members, Senate again says yes or no, and pardon people, except himself in most people's opinion. But he can't just make laws, that's Congress's job. He can veto bills, but Congress can override with a 2/3 vote. It's like a game of rock, paper, scissors designed so nobody becomes emperor. Funny twist, the founders were so scared of kings they made the president get paid, but they never imagined someone tweeting at 3 a.m. in a bathrobe about tariffs on New Jersey. Article 3. The judicial branch, the courts, the referees. Supreme Court and lower courts. Judges serve for life so they don't worry about getting re-elected and can just call balls and strikes. They decide if laws or presidential actions follow the Constitution. Marbury vs. Madison later gave them judicial review, the superpower to say, nope, that law's unconstitutional. Think of it as the goalie who can yell offsides at the whole government, whether it's New York or Virginia trying to break the rules. Article 4. The states, how the states have to play nice with each other. Full faith and credit, your driver's license from California works in Texas, extradition, if you rob a bank in one state, another has to send you back, and new states can join, but Congress decides. No state can be a bully to another, like settling those old river fights between Maryland and Virginia once and for all. It's the Be Good Neighbors article. Article 5, amending the Constitution, the upgrade button. It's deliberately hard, 2/3 of Congress plus 3/4 of the states. Only 27 amendments ever. That's why it lasts. It's not a sticky note, it's carved in stone, with a chisel that takes forever to swing. Good thing, or we'd be amending it every time someone got mad about socks with sandals. Article 6, supremacy and debts. The Constitution and federal laws are the supreme law of the land. States can't ignore them. Also, we'll pay the old Revolutionary War debts. No welching, even if New York or Massachusetts didn't feel like chipping in. Article 7, ratification. 9 out of 13 states had to say yes for it to start. They did, barely. Rhode Island was the last one, kicking and screaming like the kid who doesn't want to leave recess. Whew. That's the original 7 articles. Now the part everybody actually quotes, the Bill of Rights. The Anti-Federalists won this round, and thank goodness. These first 10 amendments are the you can't touch this list. Let's blast through them with 5th grade punch. Amendment 1, freedom of religion. Pick your own or none. Speech, press, assembly, peaceful protests, and petition, complain to the government. Translation, you can pray how you want, say what you want, even if it's silly, write what you want, gather with friends holding signs, and send angry letters to Congress. Satire, without this, we couldn't have internet comment sections roasting bad laws, and the world would be way too quiet and polite. Amendment 2, right to keep and bear arms, because the founders just fought a war and wanted citizens to protect themselves. Modern debates are loud, but the amendment is short and punchy. Amendment 3, no quartering soldiers in your house without permission. British did this, people hated it. Never again. Your bedroom stays yours. Amendment 4. No unreasonable searches and seizures. Police need a warrant. Probable cause, signed by a judge. Your stuff is your stuff, not the government's playground. Amendment 5. Due process, no double jeopardy, no self-incrimination. I plead the 5th. No taking your property without fair pay. Grand juries for serious crimes. Basically, government can't just bully you like a playground tyrant. Amendment 6. Speedy and public trial by jury, right to a lawyer, right to face your accuser. No secret star chamber nonsense. Amendment 7. Jury trials in big civil cases, too. Amendment 8. No excessive bail, no excessive fines, no cruel and unusual punishments. No drawing and quartering, thanks. We're not medieval. Amendment 9. Just because a right isn't listed doesn't mean you don't have it. Safety net for future rights. Amendment 10. Powers not given to the feds belong to the states or the people. The Mind Your Own Business Amendment. Washington doesn't get to boss around every little thing. There it is, the Constitution in one whirlwind tour. Written by flawed humans who somehow built a machine that's still running 237 years later. It's not perfect. They left slavery in, women couldn't vote, etc. But they built in the fix-it kit. Amendments, courts, elections, free speech. Every time we argue about it, whether it's big states versus small states or old fights resurfacing, we're doing exactly what they hoped, fighting with words instead of swords or tariffs. So next time someone says it's just a piece of paper, tell them, nah, it's the referee, the rule book, the force field, and the promise all rolled into one. It's why you can wear a silly hat, argue with your teacher politely, and know the government has to follow the same rules as you, even when New York, New Jersey, and Virginia are involved. We, the people, still get the final say. Now go out there and use your rights, responsibly, loudly, and with a grin. Because the founders would have wanted the joke to land. Or the powdered wig. Questions? Fire away.